Hey guys, so I want to talk to you guys about numerology. I have been looking at numerology for a lot of years, but I haven't really sat down and actually focused on what it meant. And I didn't remember my own number. It's interesting because I thought I was 2, but I'm 11. Like, in every sense of the word. Like, you can calculate your number in different ways. But okay, so numerology can be divided. It's like astrology in a way. You can have different numbers. Everyone has different numbers, but they have one number. So like their main number is kind of like your sun sign, and your other numbers are kind of like your life path or different parts of your life. And you can find all these numbers just by looking at your name. You can even your name. You can look at your birthday. You can look at your birth time if you want. You can take astrology. You can look at the degrees to which where the planets were over the 360 degrees and what numbers pop up, and find the numerology of your astrology. It's crazy. Each number is associated with a certain kind of characteristic, quality, path. In this sense, yeah, it's like a path. Your life path number is your numerology number in a sense. Like if you think of numerology, think of your life path number. That's your birthday. Of course, you can also look at your name. I mean, you can look at your name in so many different ways. Like it's not really that clear. If I went by Donnie, which is my name's Donnie Houston. If I went by Donnie Houston, my number would be different if I went by Donald Houston. It would be different if I added my middle name. My sister has 2 last names. She doesn't always use her last name. They do say though, whatever name you use most frequently is the number you should look at though. I tend to focus less on names. Names are really important though. I think your name might have a correlation with your astrology sign. I think your name does affect your life. Every label and everything does affect your life. It emits a frequency. Spiritual people know this. I don't know if you know spiritual people, but they tend to change their name. That associates more peaceful energy coming towards them. Famous people and wealthy people tend to also change their name. People in power. They change the name because they want to have a different number. You can definitely look up so many articles online about different famous people now that are in the spotlight that have changed their name to suit a better number that suits the kind of thing that they want to put out to the world. If they want to be more spiritual, they may change their name to be an 11. But ultimately, you can't really change your birthday. I think there are people out there that do pretend they have a different birthday. You can pretend, and that might actually change your frequency of energy. But it really can't, deep down, because your birthday does not change. And that's something that's really interesting, and I think it's very important. Because you can change so much stuff about your life, but you cannot change where you're from, or your history, or your background, or especially your birthday, or where you were born. And that really has a huge effect on you. So I've been really looking into it. It's really interesting because me and my roommate decided one day to just start looking at numerology. I think I really kind of got more into it from Melissa Sharp's videos, but I knew about it for forever. I think I knew I was a 2, but I'm actually an 11, and a 2 and an 11 are the same thing. I'll get into that soon. Me and my friend looked at our charts. I already knew his birth astrology chart. It's so interesting because I looked at astrology and I got into the basic stuff, and then I kind of got more into looking at charts, and then I started numerology and I started to look at charts. My roommate is a 9, and I'm an 11. There's basically 12 numbers in numerology. You could say there's 9. There's basically there's 9, because numerology can only be divided into single digits, really. Then double digits of the same numbers with 2 digits of the same digit, like 11, 22, 33. Those 3 are really important. And then 44 can be important. It's debatable. Some numerologists only look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you take your birthday, which consists of your birth month, your birth date, and your birth year, and you add all those numbers together, and then keep adding, basically, until it reaches 1 digit, then that's your number. And if you can, that just works if you want to find your basic 1-digit number. I'm a 2. 2s are mediators. They have the ability to be objective, they're sensitive, They can have erratic moods and emotions. They want to keep the peace. And my roommate's a 9, and it's pretty much the same thing. They want to keep the peace, but they're more idealistic. Yeah. And the numerology numbers do match up with astrology numbers. There's 12 for each. And in this case, it's kind of creepy how they match up, because me and my roommate noticed that I'm an 11, and pretty much all my planets are in the 11th house. I have such a focus on the 11th house. 11th house even rules astrology, and I love astrology. My roommate's focus on the 9th house. All of his planets are in the 9th house. His sun, and he's a 9. It's creepy. This doesn't always work, but there tends to be very strong angles in your chart to do with the house that your birth path number is. I personally believe that before you were born, you chose this life. Maybe you didn't choose it. Maybe karma chose you because of your past lives and you need to learn a certain lesson. And maybe there's a focus on your house life if you kind of avoided that in your past lives. I think numerology I really think your life path number tends to have a strong connection with your north and south nodes in astrology. Your north and south nodes aren't planets, but they are kind of related to your moon sign. It's an angle in the sky. It's like an invisible planet that comes about by doing all this math. Like astrology and numerology are very correlated with math. They're kind of like the scientific side of science and math. Wait, did I say that right? There's the spiritual side of science and math. So my chart, I was born in January, so that would be a 1. And your month number has something to do with something. So the number 1 is leaderly. It has a connection with Aries. It's the kind of the father or the leader. It symbolizes the whole universe as one. You tend to kind of focus solely, your path is, I think, trying to focus solely on yourself and your ability to be independent and become a leader. I know a lot of 1s, and they kind of have this energy about them that, like, it's just like they're learning by themselves, and that's all they need is themselves. They don't need the universe because they are their own universe, and it's kind of like learning to focus on themselves. And I do tend to think that 1s tend to have Aries energy in their charts, but I have met a lot of 1s that are like more Pisces, and that even makes sense because Pisces is the universe in 1, and I think those people have everything in 1. Alyssa Sharp's channel, if you really want to know, I can send you a link and tell you more about her channel, but she goes on more about numerology. And she has a really cool theory that I think she's a bit more, I don't know, more advanced, but she has like really intuitive information. So if you want to check her out, you can. But the number 1, 2, and 3, I know a lot of singers that are 3s. 3s tend to be, 3 is the number of the child, and they tend to want to entertain. The 4 is a balanced number. The 4 is a very important number, like in numerology and every other scientific field or whatever. 4 represents the universe in a way. It's the 4 elements, the 4 directions. It's so balanced, and it's like a stable rock. It's connected to the home. I know a few 4s that have strong focus on the home. I have a focus on the home in my chart, but less so than other areas of the chart, like humanity. I have a huge connection to humanity and hopes and dreams and subconscious and spirituality and astrology. And my friend's a 4, and she has the moon in the 4th house. I always see her at her home, and just a strong connection with home life, and that's 4. I mean, there's a slight connection. Numerology is slightly different than astrology. 4s are actually more associated with stability than the home. They become a home to other people, is what it really is. Their life path is to learn about the home and become that home and that kind of energy for other people and the stability and kind of a beacon of light, I think, 4s can be. But then they're not as healing. Number 6s are healing. And then we go from 1 to 9, and then you can also, if you're a 2, you could also be an 11. You could also be a 20. I think there's only two different kinds of 2s. There's 11s and there's 20s. 20s are more popular, but 20 can only be divided into 2. If you reach the number 11, you don't turn it into one digit. You keep at that number, and then if 11 is your whole chart, then you stick with 11 and you say you're an 11. If you're born in November, you have an 11 month. If you're born on the 11th day of a month, you would have an 11th day, and those are important too. And you would keep those. You wouldn't subtract them. You would keep those and then keep adding them, and yeah. You can look this up for more information. I hope to explain this better. Okay, so there's master numbers. The three main master numbers that people talk about most, the real master numbers, really are 11, 22, and 33. So an 11 would be a more energetic 2. A 22 would be a more energetic 4, and a 33 would be a more energetic 6. So an 11 is a higher frequency 2. They are 2s are mediators, but 11s are mediators with the universe. 4s are builders. They build things, and they're just so stable and able to do that. But 22s are master builders. They see the bigger picture. And 33s are healers, like the number 6, but they are more spiritually inclined, and they have heightened awareness. I find I've learned this, it's really cool. I know a few 33s, and 33s are like, I find the most enlightened people. 33s are supposed to actually, 33 is the number of Jesus. They are the Christ-like. They are Christ consciousness. They are, there's a few names for them. But if you see 33 a lot, like even if you see numbers throughout your life, it means something. It's the universe trying to tell you something. Every single thing in your whole life can have numbers associated with it. Your houses can have number. My apartment is a 5, and I believe my building is a 10. So 5 and 10 are kind of both associated with masculinity, very masculine and powerful, and places of communes, of republic people gather together for entertainment or business, and it makes a lot of sense. We have a really nice place, and we're lucky that our apartment's at the 5 because it's a place of entertainment when we need it to be. And me and my roommate host, and we have a lot of fun times here. And I believe that's probably karma in my life. I have Jupiter in the 5th house, and I think that has a lot to do with it. I have the moon in the 4th house. My 4th house is home, and my 5th house is entertainment and fun. And I believe in this incarnation, those parts of my life are supposed to be peaceful. But then I have, like, the other side of my chart is very stressful. I have a very hard Saturn life, which, if you understand what Saturn is, you would understand that. But numerology is really important in math. Anything in math can find it. My roommate actually found something really cool. I don't know if I mentioned this. He was so fascinated. Like, it's so interesting because he doesn't care too much about, like, spirituality, where I'm so focused and interested in it. He's a 9, so I think he's just so chill. He has this ability to be so chill and idealistic, and he has this view, and he's like, everything will be good, and I'm kind of like, yeah, but you gotta make it good. Anyway, we're both humanitarians, 11 and 9s, but he was interested in the whole math aspect of numerology, because it doesn't matter how you add up a chart, and it doesn't matter what you do, it'll always condense to the same digit. And by that I mean, like, you could add your birthday first, you could add your birth year first, you could first divide your birth year into one digit, and then divide your birthday into one digit, and then put it all together. It will always end up to be the same last digit. This is not the same for master numbers. For master numbers, this is where things get complicated. You have to follow a strict pattern. Now the thing is, I'm an 11, and it doesn't matter which way you add them, all the digits together, I'm always an 11. Other people that are considered to be 11s may be considered to be a 2 by another person, because you may add up the numbers in one way, and it might have to add up to 11, and another way it might have to add up to 20. It can't add up to 2, because you can't have even if you're born on January 1st, which is 1 plus 1, you still have to add the year. So you can't add up to 2. So it's just 20 and 11. Now 33s are more complicated because you could be, if you're a 6, you could be a 42, you could be a 24, you could be a 15, you could be a 51. But 33s are the only ones that are math. In my opinion, you have to add your birth month, day, and year. But first you have to divide the day into a single digit or a master number, the birth year into a single digit or a master number, and the last one into a single digit or a master number. So say your birth year added up to 11, your birth month added up to 11, and your birthday added up to 11. 11 plus 11 plus 11 would be a 33. This would be a very, very enlightened person, I would assume. Because 11 is so intuitive. 11 kind of gathers information. Yeah, and the first 9 numbers kind of go in order. Like, the 1 takes information, gives it to the 2, 2 goes to the 3, and it kind of builds on it. It's like, the 1 is like a 1 piece of wood. The 2 is like 2 pieces of wood interloping and creating a balance. 3 is like 3 pieces of wood. 4 is actually the 4 walls of a house. 5 is the roof adding to the house. 6 is the floor. 7 is the doors and windows. I don't know. Anyway. And then 11 and 12, 11, 22, and 13 are important just for spirituality, for spiritual reasons. 11 is the inquirer. They get information from a higher power, and they're the messengers, because they give information to the world in this way. The 22s take that information and build something with it. The 33s are more spiritual. They're more advanced. They aren't learning. They just know things, and they're peaceful, they're balanced, I find, and they heal people. They just automatically heal people. Their lives should be just filled with healing. Alright, well, I gave you guys my all, and I tried to explain it as much as I could. But if you have any questions, just put it through the comments, send me a message, and I will answer them as best as I can. Thank you.